Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation. Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. On this third day, we're one day away from the 4th of July. I've got a quick announcement after the break I'll make about that show with the Mad New Yorker coming up after our break. Tonight, want to talk about Hard Knocks. Didn't quite get a chance to actually watch the whole thing, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But I do want to talk about the behind-the-scenes look. This is something that's never really been done before. It was touched on a little bit in the All or Nothing Amazon documentary that goes throughout the whole season, but not to this length and of what the general managers are talking about. And so basically, I'm going to tell you that what the Giants were saying and what I've been telling you all on this program are the same conversations that the general managers have in office, and you kind of get the fans an inside look of what the organization is thinking and the dilemmas that they are having. Really good stuff here. I do have some sound bites I can play. Thank God for my guys that I follow, the 33rd Team. Very good site there, NFL site off the Expo. So I've got some sound bites I want to play there, and I'll comment on that and give you a lowdown and a quick take on that and this Giants here. Look here from the Hard Knocks last night. LeBron has signed an extension. Go figure. And the Lakers and Laker fan nation, they're wondering, well, we don't have anybody else. And I'll explain that as well, my opinion on that. And this NFL lawsuit, very interesting, huge lawsuit, antitrust lawsuit with the Sunday ticket that was ruled, last week, $14 billion. Yes, that's correct. $14 billion awarded to plaintiffs and people that had that direct TV from 2011 to 2022. Get my thoughts on that. I'm a little mixed, to say, little mixed reviews. Also, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, both make the All-Star game. I'll try to get you a good sound bite there from Angel Reese, who's living up to her height, by the way, and more. Stand by. We'll take our first and only break. Got some more announcements when I get back, and we'll hit the ground running. I'll be back here shortly here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. Now, back here, quick announcement. Very important announcement. Tomorrow, I will be on in the morning, live in the morning, not on Roku TV. The replay of the show will be on Roku TV with the Northeast streaming sports channel. But myself and the Mad New Yorker will be on 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. We'll be going over, because it's a holiday. He's got family stuff to do. I've got some work I want to do later on tomorrow day and into the evening. Going to talk about the NBA free agency with the Mad New Yorker, get his take on the 76ers being really highly thought of by Vegas, and get his take on a lot of this week's biggest stories. Make sure and tune in to that morning special, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. Already got it cleared and clarified by the Mad New Yorker. And I wanted to get, you all know that I've had women here in the past on Sports Scope. I just don't have men on this program. I've got a friend now. She's agreed to it. We haven't got it. She ain't came on yet, but my friend from the X app here, Temple Ann Levis here, Lewis, excuse me, and Lewis there. I don't know if she goes by Temp or whatever. Friend from the X app. She's out of Tampa area. Big Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, personal trainer. I like to get a lady's perspective. Sonia Pearson had her on the program in the past couple months ago. Probably bring Sonia back on the program. Get her thoughts on the Carolina Panthers. My friend, I bet, from the National Stream Sports. And of course, we've had who did I have on here a few years ago? Pickles there. What's her name here? My friend, she's still on here, and I've got to find her. But anyways, she was telling me about this coaching conference here, and one of my Steph Wood, always up to no good. Great sense of humor, really good friend there. I love to get different perspectives on sports and don't want to leave the women out here, because women do like the NFL, like sports coaching. And I was working on possibly getting a singer on the program who's a lady, but she hasn't got back to me. Anyways, so that's just a preview. Also got other guests lined up, just ain't got them technically booked, Pickles. I wanted to get all these announcements out of the way. I feel like the guy at the principal, right, Pickles? You know, the principal will come on and back in our. I don't even know if they do that. Back in the school days here, we're all in middle school, elementary school. I don't know if they still do that. I guess they probably still do. The principal will get on the intercom and give all the announcements, you know, and everybody's sitting there and they're looking at the speaker and you're hoping that one day the principal comes on during a snowstorm or when it starts to snow and saying we're getting out of school early. That's what we really look forward to. So didn't want to go all high school or any school principal on you, but had to do that, get all that stuff out of the way here. So anyways, okay, long story short, got off work, wanted to try Uber, Pickles, so I did as a driver, because, you know, I'm trying to build this program up, working on advertising revenue, okay? That's why I've been taking off some days. I've had to work later some days. To do this show 5 days a week, I've had to take, you know, work sacrifices and not quite making as much to get around, but not making enough to really invest. So I've taken side jobs. We've had wraps put on my car. I've just recently got through all the shenanigans. And, man, there's a thin line between love and hate with me and technology, Pickles, I'm telling you. So I got through all their little shenanigans. And I mean shenanigans, I mean they add this rule, they add that rule. I have to sign and agree to this to be an Uber driver. I have to sign and agree to that to be an Uber driver. Then I have to watch 20 minutes of videos last weekend, Pickles, to be an Uber driver. So I got through all that. I felt like I'm going through another college, right? So today I get off work. I work downtown. I was doing a medical carrier job. Worked down there at 22nd Avenue North here in Nashville, one of the close to St. Thomas for my Nashville listeners. And so I tried out for the first time. So I hit the go out here. Traffic's light in Nashville. We're on a holiday week, folks. I figured, you know, got done at 2:45. Hit the button. It tells me the directions to the lady. Okay, I've got my little stand set up. I had to get that, by the way. You can't be. I don't want anybody complaining on me, like my Uber driver friends, that I'm, you know, I'm not I'm not holding my cell phone. I've got it on stand. You know, I want to make sure hands free, right? So I do this, and this older lady here is probably a little older than my parents' age. She was at the doctor's office, and she gave the wrong address. I circled around, could not find this person. So, but she had the access. She calls me, and I got it's somewhere off Murphy Avenue there, right? Murphy Avenue, Charlotte area, Pickles, close to Centennial. So we finally figured out where she's at. And then she figures out how to get in. I said, ma'am, you okay? Okay. She very, very nice lady. Remind me of my grandmother. And so we get her squared away. Meanwhile, I'm on this Uber out, college degree and everything. I'm hitting this button on this person's name, Pickles. And I cannot get this Uber thing to say that I have picked this person up and changed the directions from my building to her building, from from her address where I'm picking her up at Murphy Avenue, going to Madison, right? Madison, Tennessee, which is about 15 to 22 minutes, depending on traffic, 30 minutes, roughly. And that's in the afternoon traffic. But not too bad. It's an area real close to where I used to live at. So about 22 miles, what Pickle says. Okay. But this lady's already, she's in the car, seatbelt on, we're rolling. I'm familiar with where she wanted to go at because I used to live there, right? So we're going up there, and I downsized on my phone the Uber stuff. So I put her address in my regular Google Maps like I'm working a carrier job, right? Because she just verbally told me. So I drive all the way up there, drop this person off. Nice, very nice lady. If everybody was like her, I would have a great job. Drop this person off at her house in the Madison area. And so I pulled down to that MAPCO, Pickles, off of Neely's Bend Road. My sister used to live over there. A lot of people, a lot of my friends and close family members know exactly what I'm talking about. So I finally figured out everything on Uber is press. It's press the blue button, press this. But it's not press on the name once you pick up the person, Pickles. It's not press. You have to swipe that person. So I swiped this person's name. Then it says pickup. So I drove to her house and I thought, okay, maybe the system has picked up what I've done. And I swiped again. I had to go drive back to this woman's house, swipe again, you know. And then it said, okay, ride complete. Says rate rider, right? Rate the rider. So I rated her and gave her 5 stars. Such a nice person. So I look up the fare and it said $4.20. I said, oh God. And it wasn't. So what I had to do is go in there, Google a bunch of stuff, go find a way, go back into the app, contact Uber, tell them it was my first ride, wasn't familiar with everything, and got the address because it was in my Google saved. And then finally they got it squared away. It was like $22 and some change. Not bad, but it set me back about 45 minutes of prep time. Okay. So then I get home. This is my another beef with technology. And I'm so excited to watch Hard Knocks because it takes the general managers a look in the offices. It looks at the front office side of what the Giants did. And I had it recorded twice on 2 different HBOs to make sure. And sure enough, HBO had it listed as Hard Knocks coming on at a certain time. Instead, they put some Dungeons and Dragons crap on there. So I recorded the wrong thing, even though it said I didn't record it. So on top of all that, try to go into on demand, which people who's got Xfinity know. Then they wanted me to go in and subscribe to HBO Max and go through all that crap. And even though I've already paid for it, they were going to charge me. But the pickles, they wanted me to go through all that nonsense, right? They wanted me to go through all that nonsense to set up the account, even though I'm already paid up because I paid for HBO to do it, which they shouldn't make me have to do all that crap. So I didn't do none of that. I just went on the X app and found some of my stuff. Well, I'm set back an hour and a half, almost 2 hours of prep time. I almost didn't do the program today, and it drives me crazy, pickles. It drives me crazy. And a lot of people have had this beef about all these multiple streaming services. And I'll give you a preview of a story I'm going to talk about with the NFL lawsuit. I kind of side with the NFL side of it, but I'm not mad if the NFL loses their appeal because of the bull crap that they've had to put us through with overcharging people for concession stands, parking, and not to mention making us go to these streaming services to watch NFL playoff games that they've done with Peacock last year. So I have no sympathy for the NFL. And all this technology and greed, there's a thin line between love and hate. What would a guy like Rodney Dangerfield be saying, Pickles? This. So, anyways, all right, Pickles. So now everybody knows my situation here. All right, now, interesting. So I'm reading as much as I can about the clips and what was played with the Saquon Barkley situation with the Giants here. This is going back to Hard Knocks from what the information that I can find off the 33rd team. They're a good NFL website, and I followed their post, their X site, which is really good. I think it's a former general manager that started this site. They put some clips out from Hard Knocks. All right. So it talks about Saquon Barkley, the dilemma they have in paying him, the statistics and whatnot, and the offensive line. I'm going to play Joe Sheehan, the general manager here, of the dilemmas he's had and what it pertains to, and what I've been saying on this program for years. You can pay a running back $20 million a year. You can have Barry Sanders, the best probably, Walter Payton, Jim Brown. But if you do not have the blocking up front, you're going to be in trouble. If you don't have the blocking up front, you're going to be in a massive loop of trouble. According to Pro Football Focus last year, the Giants' offensive line was 29th. 29th. They had I don't think Neil. I think is it Ron Neal. I have to look at the depth chart here in a minute. Well, matter of fact, I've got it. I just think he was a miss at right tackle. Andrew Thomas isn't bad, but everybody else is just dreadful. If you don't have that up front, there ain't too much that can go on with this team. Evan Neal, the Alabama player. And listen to this. Listen to what Joe Sheehan says. Just bear with me, folks. I've got it here. We're going to play it. And they have a lot to say about Barkley. Okay, here we go. This is the general manager, Joe Sheehan, on the offensive line in week 5, Pickles, at Miami, where Daniel Jones suffered a neck injury, and it names the Giants' offensive line: Evan Neal, Marcus McKending, Ben Brinson, a lot of guys I never heard of. Joshua Exidu and Mark Leskowski. He sounds like a good guy. Listen to this. This is from Hard Knocks last night, talking about this nightmare offensive line of the New York Giants.
3 serious games. We're going to draft well. We're going to sign good guys. Yep. We got to win. Yeah. The reality is facts. Yeah. 3 serious injuries in 2 years. Yeah. We need to protect ourselves. He didn't have much of a chance this year. That's legit. Like your off season, the 4 guys, your core guys that were going to play together played less than 60 snaps together. Yep. We got Miami. We got fucking 3 practice squad guys playing for us. Yep. Like nobody could fucking you could have Pat Mahomes and he can't fucking win it behind that. I'm not giving up. Like he's under contract for 3 more years. Just protecting ourselves because best predictor of the future is the past. We're going to draft well.
Well, he says we're going to draft well, and sorry about the language. He's talking like the cameras are not there, and he talked about the injuries. This is why I say you got to overstock that offensive line. You've got guys like, this is why I was so stoked in the term geeked up about what Tennessee done here in Nashville. Going out and getting more excited about the offensive line coach, who's considered a Hall of Fame level position coach, Bill Callahan, okay? And bringing in a guy like J.C. Latham, coaching a guy like Peter Sonorski, highly regarded guard coming into year 2 with Latham. And you got a guy like a Bill Callahan, one of the better O-line coaches in the league. Now, people say, well, it's just a position coach, yada, yada. Well, that position coach would be my highest paid position coach. You're paying the position coaches $300,000 to $500,000 a year nowadays. Guys like him's worth up to $1 million a year. I know that sounds crazy talk, but that's how important that the offensive line is. That's how important, which comes to this next dilemma. They didn't know Saquon Barkley wants $15-16 million. Well, if he don't have a line to run out from under, and they've already made a mistake here, he's saying it without saying it. They've overpaid Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was good for 2 years against 2 teams. The year they made the playoffs and won, or 2 teams. Most of his stats was against Minnesota's ranked 30th defense or whatever. Very, I don't want to say sloppy. I guess you can say sloppy. Clumsy, maybe the right word. Fumbles the ball a lot. Not quick processor. Those are all legitimate knocks. A lot of smoke and mirrors that the coaching staff have come up with for Daniel Jones. Okay, so here is the Giants. It says the brass, but again, this is Joe Sheehan, the general manager, talking to a play. I got a couple of them here. This is him talking to the owner here. Talking to Mr. Mara, John Mara, discussing this. I don't know if we can afford this guy, but let him tell you, and then eventually I'll come back and we'll comment on it. Okay.
We have Waller, Belly, because we're not going to franchise him. Like it doesn't make any sense to franchise him. So
unless you think you can trade him after doing it.
Right.
Yeah. If you franchise a player, this is another little interesting tidbit here. Not to get too much into the weeds, but I think this is interesting. that whole franchise number goes against your cap. When you extend the player, you can wiggle around. You can use part of it for a signing bonus and divvy it up. And man, you may pay a guy $16 million a year or whatever, but only this year, the first year, maybe only 5 of that counts against your cap, or 7, not the whole thing. But when you, and that's why it's so bad, especially the second one, because it's more money. It's more money to franchise a player. And it's especially if you're doing it to a guy like a Lamar Jackson, a quarterback per se. But this is him talking to the owner about Barkley's situation. Here, play more.
Right. And then could we get something and trade him? What are we really going to get? Unless it got down to like $7 million. I don't want to offer that because I don't want to be like we disrespected him. There's third.
Why? This offered to him, man. But that's just me. Hear more from Giants general manager explaining this to the owner, John Mara.
One team's only takes one to, maybe be open to doing something. If it doesn't get to that, hey, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to let you hit free agency, find out your market, come back and let us know if we can match it. If we can, we'll have those discussions.
I mean, in a perfect world, I'd still like to have him back. Until we can prove that we can have a decent offense without him.
Daniel's making a lot of money, and it's the fork. Like, we got to figure out is he the guy? So we got to protect him. We need to put.
Daniel's making a lot of money. Something. She ended saying that to John Mara, and a lot of us, a lot of speculation. It's not fact. It's just my speculation that John Mara. Daniel Jones came from Duke, played under, what's his name? Cutcliffe, David Cutcliffe, the great coach that coached Eli Manning. He looks like Eli Manning, but he's not Eli Manning. And there's still vision because he's a good guy, shows up to practice and everything. But he's just not quite Eli Manning. There's a sense here that, and I believe it, that the owner really pressed for them to extend Daniel Jones, in my opinion. And I think that's what Sheehan is telling the camera while he's telling Mara. Because, listen, the owner could fire everybody if this thing falls apart this year. More from this quote.
Put resources there. We have Waller, Belly, a healthy Wandell, Hyatt, Slayton. We'll have to find a running back, but upgrade the offensive line, give them a chance.
Force us to take a running back in the high to mid.
Or we can still sign one. There's going to be guys, if we're patient, that end up shaking out. Devin Singletary, who was in Houston, played for $275 this year. Joe Mixon may be a cap casualty, so now you got Saquon, Jacobs, Pollard, Eckler. That's 6 guys right there that are free agents. How many clubs really need running backs where they're going to invest resources in the position? Second week of free agency, I think there'll be some value guys, specifically at the running back position.
Yeah, I wouldn't commit to anything.
Man, so that and by the way, that conversation was in February, right around Valentine's Day. So I say that because they're creeping up on free agency. Free agency's coming at them fast. They're just past the Super Bowl, and free agency's in March. All right. He mentioned Devin Singletary, and I just play to you. I think they did the right thing. I just play to you the issues they had with their offensive line. So what they done was they went out and signed Devin Singletary, who had almost 900 yards, and he wasn't even the starter there. I mean, they were using Pierce. That was running back by committee. Singletary was a good pick. I'm surprised Houston let him go, but they had Pierce. You can add guys on rookie contracts. I get it. Singletary's an underrated running back. Always has been, even for his days at Buffalo. There's connections through Buffalo. He used to play at Buffalo. He was drafted by Buffalo. Sheehan was an assistant at Buffalo. We kind of get that. So they signed him for 3 years, $16.5 million. Meanwhile, Barkley, to give everybody an update here, Barkley goes on and signs for he signs for a pretty good amount of money, and I'm trying to find him here. I want to say Barkley gets closer to 12. Okay. So essentially, in a nutshell, breaking these two down, Barkley ended up getting about $4 million more per year. All right. And what the Giants done was they went after John Runyon, who was a free agent from the Green Bay Packers, and signed him $30 million contracts, 3 years, $30 million. Brought him over from Green Bay. That's the son of John Runyon. Very good player here. And they also added Jermaine Elamar, also offensive lineman here. So you essentially save $4 million. Like I said, 3 divided by, you got him for about 6, 5.5 a year versus almost double that. Not to get too much in the weeds on running back contracts here, but I think they made a good move here. I think they made a really good move with signing Singletary. Possibly they could have went to the draft and got a running back, but you did when you're limited that much at quarterback. Plus, he's coming back from a neck injury. Why not get somebody you can rely on? And of course, now that being said, yeah, Barkley. It's Barkley 12.5. I went back to my notes here. Barkley got 12.5. So you're $4 to $5 million difference when you're really trying to pinch. You got to do what you got to do because you've already been overpaid Daniel Jones. Now, could Barkley behind that offensive line take off and be great? Yeah. I mean, he could be wonderful, but if you don't have that line, Philly's just got a much better line. One of the best run blocking right, and you still got Lane Johnson there at right tackle. You have Maluga at left. I think that's his name. Very good left tackle. Now, Kels is the only one that they're replacing at center, but guard, tackle, they're still going to have a good offensive line as long as Lane Johnson stays healthy. Now, he is an older player. So, essentially, I commend what they did. Not sure if it's going to be enough to save jobs, but at this point, I'm okay with that. Running back is a tough one. And again, it could be a Christian McCaffrey type of situation. But Pickles thinks he's overpaid in Philly. Philly will go after, and usually that's what's going to happen. Derrick Henry signed with the Ravens. Why? Because the Titans and the Ravens, even though they're not in the same division, Henry's got the best of the Ravens in the past, Titans went out and signed Calvin Ridley, former Jacksonville Jaguar. Signed many Colts in the past. Dino Autry, former Colt. So you could be kicking their butt on Sunday, or they could be kicking your butt on Sunday, and Sunday next year, they're going to be playing for your guys. That's the NFL. I don't know why so many fans acted surprised, and some former players. Tiki Barber made a big deal about it. Former Giant, why did you sign? You're a traitor. And a lot of the current players, hey, go out and get your money, man. Go ahead and get your money. You're like your playing career short. So it's a good show. I've got it air quote set up to record again. I'm gonna watch the whole thing here, but from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. Let's see. I've got a few more bites here from it. Let's play. Joe Sheehan told Frank Gore that the data shows a decline of running backs after the age 27. which Barkley turned 27 in February.
Running backs, you listen.
You went to 49ers, right? You scout? You were doing that before you retired. You used to give me all the running back rundowns.
He's one of those guys that early in the process had actually identified Motor Singletary before he came out. He'd watched college film of him and had really liked him.
Motor gets the carry, gets the first down.
When he talks running backs, you listen.
Do y'all care about guys who coming out older? Like y'all don't want to.
Depending on the position, quarterback, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, you're going to think, how much wear and tear do you have? I mean, you look at Saquon had like 900 carries at Penn State plus 6 years in the NFL. You got to start saying bang for your buck.
Am I right or wrong that at 27 you guys look at it like running backs?
900 carry. Say that. Let me play that part again. Listen that again.
I mean, you look at Saquon had like 900 carries at Penn State plus 6 years in the NFL. You got to start saying
900 carries at Penn State. That's why. Listen, Saquon, hard-working young man. I want all these players to get as much money as they possibly can. Okay, but when you run an organization, you have to take the emotion out, and you got to look at the numbers. You know, eventually, Derrick Henry's going to wear down. Look at what Tennessee did. Remember, Titan fans, do you remember Chris Johnson? I mean, Jeff Fisher wore him out. Especially if the line's deteriorating. You have some certain situations where the line's very good. I just talked about the Christian McCaffrey, but that's not the norm. Did you guys see Eddie George when he went to Dallas and they had a decent? He was dead. I mean, he's dead-legged, man. So it's guys making a good point. That sounds so callous and hard. Well, it's the nature of the beast. You know, it is the nature of the beast. But Gore played way up in his 30s. I mean, he's all heart, man. Now son plays. I mean, you're going to get some guys that just squeeze through the cracks. They're outliers. They stay healthy. Quite frankly, Henry's playing better than I thought he would this far into his NFL career. And he'll probably if they use him right in Baltimore, he'll probably have a really good career, in my opinion. Okay. All righty then. So I wanted to talk about this other thing. I've got a little bit behind. Wow, it's 37 minutes after. So let's look at this Sunday ticket thing here. Okay. Now the NFL, and I want to make sure I get all this set up here. Now, this was the fact that when I first read it, I thought to myself, well, a lot of people do not like to deal with DirecTV. It's a lot of hassle. I don't know why Sunday Ticket had to be exclusive with DirecTV. Was never a fan of that. Like the idea to watch every single game. But this is from NPR. There's several stories on it, but this one is pretty. This one's pretty cut and dry. What happened last week? Now this could go to appeals, but essentially, jury orders NFL to pay billions in Sunday Ticket case for violating antitrust laws. A jury in U.S. District Court NFL ordered NFL pay $4.8 billion Thursday and ruled that the league violated antitrust laws and distributing out-of-market Sunday afternoon games on a premium subscription services. The jury awarded $4.7 billion in damages to residential classes and $96 million in damage to commercial class. Since the damages can be tripled under federal antitrust laws, the NFL could pay, and this is what it ended up being, $14.39 billion here. The lawsuit covers $2.4 million residential subscribers, 48,000 businesses in the United States. That's a lot of bars, ain't it, Pickles? 48,000 businesses in the United States who paid for the package of out-of-market games from 2011 to 2022 on DirecTV. The lawsuit claims the league broke antitrust laws by selling its package on Sunday at games at an inflated price. Okay. Inflated at an inflated price on the Sunday ticket, only a satellite provider. The NFL said it would appeal the verdict to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and possibly the Supreme Court. Should the NFL end up paying damages, it could cost each team $449.6 million. You know, and I think this is Roger Goodell said, we're disappointed in the jury's verdict in today's NFL ticket and class action suit. That the league said in a statement, we'll continue to believe that our media distribution strategy, which features all NFL games on free on-the-air TV and markets and participating terms and national distribution of our most popular games, supplemental by additional choices, including Red Zone Sunday Ticket, which Red Zone hadn't been around forever, but I know it's been around during this lawsuit time. NFL Plus, by far, friendly distribution of all sports. We certainly contest this decision. We believe the class action claims are baseless and without merit. I will say this. Red Zone doesn't cover every single play of every single team. It just covers the teams that are about to score, although you guys know I love Red Zone. And it's much more affordable. Justice has been done to vertical health protection consumers in all classes. It's a great day for consumers, plaintiff's attorney Bill Carmody said. During the closing arguments, he showed an April 2017 NFL memo that showed the league was exploring a world without the Sunday ticket where cable channels could air Sunday afternoon out-of-market games not shown on Fox or CBS. Jury of 5 men, 3 women, disputed for merely deliberated for 5 hours on this thing. And it's scheduled, again, could be going up for appeal. All right. And it also says, I read this too off the Associated Press. The suit claims NFL purposely kept Sunday ticket at a high price so that many could not afford it, forcing them to watch their local broadcast and thereby increasing their viewership numbers, forcing the network to pay the leagues more for broadcast rights. Okay, so that's all of it in a nutshell. One argument I could make is it's roughly around $400 is what the Sunday ticket costs, but you had to have DirecTV. People don't like DirecTV, including myself. It's a pain in the butt, especially if it's raining. You're going to have problems with DirecTV. So I didn't like that aspect of it. Now this is then. Now you can get it on YouTube, and it's really good. And Red Zone. Now, Red Zone is the best deal. I think it's like anywhere from $10 to $15 a month. You just add that onto your regular cable bill. That's probably worth the money, Pickles, right? Then you're just talking about September to when. And so part of me kind of thinks, okay, I'm siding with the NFL. But just like I said at the beginning of the program, I wouldn't mind seeing the NFL getting a hammer laid down on them for other reasons. And this is bad greed and karma. Other than Arthur Blank out of Atlanta, overcharging consumers for concession stands, overcharging for parking and in the parking lot, in the stadiums, also hitting us up with these streaming, having to get a streaming service to watch a playoff game and regular season Thursday night football games. I don't care for none of that crap, okay? So they're getting greedy. I don't mind if they get the hammer laid down on this, even though I think this particular suit doesn't have the weight that it probably should. I kind of like to see this being bad karma per se for all other crap in the greed that the NFL has been hitting us with. That being said, I love the game. Look at all this I've dedicated to the NFL. So be it. So why do you want to lose? Spite. remember the episode? There was an episode of Seinfeld, and Jerry did not like this salesman that kept hitting on Elaine in front of him, even though him and Elaine wouldn't seeing each other. And so he bought the suit. Anyways, and they got to talking, and it really ticked him off. Way this guy, long hair, and British sounding guy. I think he's from Australia or something. He had that UK accent, Pickles, and finally he takes the suit back, and he said, "I don't want this suit no more." And then the lady said, "Well, why don't you want it? What's wrong with it?" And he said, "I just want to take it back for spite." She said, "Spite?" And Jerry's like, "Spite." She said, "Let me go talk to my manager." And you can hear her in the background, and Jerry kind of walks away from the front desk there, the cashier desk. And she's like, "Yeah, he said he wants to take it back for spite." And then the guy comes over and he's like, "How can I help you?" "Well, I'm going to take his suit back for spite, and I'll take his suit back for spite. And so, "Well, we can't take it back for spite." And he's like, "Well, I don't like it anymore, but you already said spite." So for spite, I kind of like to see the NFL lose this. In a nutshell, I like to see them lose this particular lawsuit. Okay. In other news, LeBron James has signed a 2-year extension, but he's got a player option after one. And it's for like $50 million or so. And people are wondering why. I think it's like 50 something. Let me look at this again. Let me go ahead and look at this again. It's on my timeline here. This happened this morning. And LeBron. Okay. So it's 2 years, $104 million total. Little over $50 million a year. He's got a player option after one, no trade clause. No trade. Pickle says he's selling jerseys. He is selling jerseys. And for the record, he's made $583 million, $466 for $466,457 and didn't give the cent sign. 50 million, so much for, and by the way, LeBron has signed a $7 million, like 4 years, $7 million. Usually, and by the way, those second round picks are contracts are not guaranteed. My guess is his will probably be guaranteed, or LeBron will walk. So FanDuel puts out this. LeBron's career earnings are unreal. Michael Jordan's career earnings are $94 million. LeBron is $583 million. And I thought to myself, you should thank Michael for that, for playing so good and balling out so much for Nike and getting that, really amping up the USA team there in the 92 Olympics and blowing this thing wide open on the international level here. But my other point about LeBron's extension, no, there was no hometown discount. So you got LeBron, you've got Bronny, you got the son, and you did draft Dalton Kincaid. Okay, and you got Cam Reddish, and Lakers fans are upset because they didn't get any big players. They wanted Trae Young. Klay Thompson turned down extra money to go to the Lakers. Two duds right there. McLaurin, what's this guy? McLaurin, was it the former Jazz? Supposedly that fell through. And there's rumors that Anthony Davis isn't too happy. Why would you want to go play for the Lakers? LeBron is 100 years old in basketball years. He's hired his coach, JJ Redick. He's got his son on the team. He's got his best friend, business partner, Rich Paul, that's the agent for Anthony Davis himself and players on the team. You have an owner there that changes her mind whichever way the wind blows. Who wants to play for the LA Lakers that's in their prime and trending upward? Who really wants to play for this Laker team, Pickles? Baby Bron. I wouldn't name my kid Bronny because that sounds too much like a paper towel to me. Bron Jr., I don't know. I just think that, again, only reason the pressure hasn't come more, the criticism hasn't really been because they did win a championship a few years ago, and they still have made the conference finals 2 years ago. And they actually made the play-in game last year, whatever. But really, they're kind of they're a team that's duct taped together, folks. You're holding your breath on Anthony Davis every year. And you're really holding your breath on LeBron. He's not getting any younger. I mean, yeah, you got Rao Hachimura, Austin. I mean, I would still try to put together something and make a move between now and the end of the summer or by the trade deadline coming up in March. But it is what it is. Dude's made a lot of money. I don't totally dislike LeBron. I like his business acumen. I like his he has showed up every year in shape. Some of his political stuff and anti-police stuff and painting broad brushes, I never liked that. And I don't like the fact that he's running everything. But my thing is, would I put him over Jordan? No, of course not. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't have all this player empowerment and have all these all-star teams around you for year after year after year, and you still only have 4 rings. So Jordan had less and did more. So it is what it is. Is he a better athlete? Yes. Is he a bigger specimen? Yes. Pretty durable? Yes. So that's my thought. I got a few more minutes left here. Want to say, was I right or was I right, by the way? Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, both made, switching gears here, both made the WNBA All-Star team. All-Star. And I tell you what, Angel Reese, love her or hate her, she's living up to her end of the bargain. She really is living up to her end of the bargain. Her stats are unbelievable. I want to say she's had 6 or 7 doubles in a row. Here's a soundbite of her really tearing up after making it. And she did deserve it. Angel Reese did deserve it, making the All-Star team.
I know the work I put in. Coming into this league, so many people doubted me and didn't think my game would translate and I wouldn't be the player that I was in college or better or would be worse and wouldn't be where I am right now. But I trusted the process and I believed, and I'm thankful that I dropped to 7 and was able to come to Chicago, and it's just a blessing. I can't thank my teammates and my coaches enough for just believing in me and trusting me. And I know all of them are going to come to Phoenix and support me, so I'm really happy right now.
She's playing her butt off. You know, she can be a diva at times. I know everything's happened in the past. I ain't forgotten none of that. But she has, and Caitlin Clark, of course, Caitlin Clark has made it with her assist, her ball movement. She's getting better by the day. And this woman's great on both sides. We know what Clark is. And both of these players, a little bit of a slow start here. Caitlin Clark, 120. Another record for the resume. This is what the Fever put out. Congratulations, Caitlin Clark, for breaking the rookie franchise record for assists in a single season in just 20 games. Just 20 games for Clark, 129 assists. I was watching the interview, Pickles, the other day with John Stockton. John Stockton, by the way. She is a little John Stockton. She might be more talented. She might be John Stockton's illegitimate daughter, you know? Stockton played, I want to say, 17 years, 82 games. I'm thinking, man, how do you do that? And, you know, John Stockton, when they first started in 84, he was drafted the same year Jordan was. Stockton, they used to fly a commercial. You know, I was listening to an interview on Odd Shark. By the way, I should get the creator of Odd Shark. He's a friend of mine on X. I'll try to get him. But they used to have no sleep coming in. No sleep coming in and just smoking people. And he says one night, Philadelphia came in. They had snow problems, everything. I think it was Philadelphia. And smoked them after no sleep and dead-legged. So life is a lot better than it used to be. But kudos to, I guess my whole point going back to Reese and Clark is what I've been saying. By the way, they're still moving the arena for Caitlin Clark. She's constantly getting arenas moved because she's selling places out and they got to move to different. There's more ticket demand than it is tickets available. Is this idea, like I mentioned last week, Gino Auriemma would be a good he would be a good addition there to this team, and the owner there needs to go out and be aggressive and try to get some good free agents in the women's game and be aggressive, maybe move up in the draft next year. Put a lot of premium on Caitlin Clark. Reese is fine. I told you she's got this other woman. She's 6'7", twin tower chick that's from South Carolina with her. She's going to be okay. But Reese, she's a very attractive woman. You think she's a diva and don't deliver, but numbers wise, she delivers. She kind of reminds me in a sense of a female T.O. T.O. complain, bad teammate, but she's a better teammate than T.O. Don't get me wrong, Terrell Owens. But T.O. would put the numbers up, man. And this girl puts the numbers up. But my point is that invest into that Indiana team because this rival of these two players, them actually playing that well, Chicago and Indiana. Now, of course, the teams aren't playing great, but for the future of this league, they can actually start turning a profit. And again, they're played in the middle of summer where ain't nothing going on. You know, they're played in the middle of the summer where there ain't nothing going on. If I were playing fantasy, I would take Angel Reese every night. Right, Pickles? Because you get the bonus if you get the double-double. You get a bonus. She's a double-double machine. She gets blocks. She's a good player. She's a good player. She actually lives up to it. So I'll have to give it to her. Again, folks, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time, Pickles. I will be on with the Man New Yorker. We'll go over all this week's biggest stories, all that NBA free agent news, whatever comes up overnight. I'll ask him a little bit about LeBron and all that good stuff. We'll go over that. So tune in. And of course, if you miss it, the show will be replayed. The show will be replayed on the. It will be replayed, so it'll be on the normal time on Roku TV at the regular scheduled time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. If you watch it, but it'll be a recorded show from early tomorrow morning, so it will be replayed. It will be replayed at the normal scheduled time, 8 p.m. A matter of fact, you always see on Roku, on the Sports Scope YouTube channel. You'll always see that. Facebook, the Real Sports Scope will be on 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, where it's a live show or replay. So either way, I'll see you all tomorrow morning with the Mad New Yorker. Maybe get some baseball questions in there, here on Sports Scope. Have a good night, everybody. The Real Sports Scope, excuse me.